that the sun shines down its power to all the world and makes the wind blow strong as it will. I wonder how gentle rains can fall upon the land, so lovely earth can stay lovely still. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 386th edition of Energy Week with George Harvey.
400, aren't we?
We are, but you know what? I have to be honest about something. I'm going to continue keeping these in order the same way that they've been in order.
Yeah.
But I was looking through our back stuff, and I found that there were five shows that I had done experimentally
Didn't have a number.
that got included in this series.
Oh, and
So they were never broadcast. And so 386 actually means 381.
Okay.
Okay, so we are getting there. And you know, but when we're going to celebrate our 400th show, we should actually be doing it when the number is 405. Is that sufficiently?
I think I understand.
Okay. Welcome to the 386th.
I don't think anybody really cares.
What?
I don't think anybody really cares.
Well, yeah, I know, but let's be truthful. I mean, nobody in Washington, D.C. is doing it. We might as well do it at home, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. Welcome to the 386th, also the 381st edition of Energy Week. Today is the 27th of August. And we're starting the dates on this show from Thursday, August 20th, a week ago today. These news items that we're talking about are taken from my blog, geoharvey.com. And you can go to the blog and click on the calendar if you want to read the show, or if you're seeing this on various places it's posted. BCTV, BrattleBoroTV.org, or YouTube, or it's actually posted on a couple of other places too, I think. It should have with it the actual script that Tom and I work from, which is listed there as Energy Week number 386.
Yeah.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, Tom and I have a shield between us, which I have asked Tom not to rap on, but it's right here. You can see it as a line down your screen. Last time it got dislodged slightly, and so there was a thick line going down the middle. Sorry about that.
Anybody was wondering why George had a line through his face, that's the explanation.
That's the explanation, yes. And in fact, if you wanted to click over there, Tom, you could put me up, and it's hard to do this because it's all off. There is the line, through my face.
I can see the line, yeah, I can see lines.
Well, if I moved this thing forward just a little bit, it would match up with a panel behind me, but
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to mention the hurricane.
Yes. Already a death.
What?
There's already one death.
My bet is there's more than that. It hit as
so
a category
far they have
4.
only announced one death.
Did you notice where it hit?
Huh?
Did you notice where it hit? I'm gonna give you my religious fundamentalist side here for just a second. Donald Trump is the chosen one, and this storm proves it.
Oh yeah?
Yes, it came ashore. Where? Cameron Parish, Louisiana.
We've talked about Cameron
We've talked about Cameron Parish many times, but this storm happened to hit the county in the United States that had the highest pro-Trump vote of any county.
Yeah, we've talked about that too.
And there it is. It's blowing the people away. I wonder how many of those people are going to return to Cameron County. They're going to have a 20-foot storm surge there, and they have
to worry if there's going to be a Cameron County.
There might not. They have houses that are built on stilts, a story up, that are going to get flooded.
Yeah.
Oh man, those poor people. Anyway, my take on Donald Trump is
this is what they love.
Yep, he is the chosen one. He was chosen to punish the United States for its devotion to the worship of Mammon. Mammon, by the way, is a biblical term meaning greed.
Greed, it means, huh?
It means greed. Yep.
Okay.
The worship of mammon is a term that doesn't appear in the Bible. It showed up later when they started putting the whole thing of greed into a anthropomorphizing it.
Uh-huh.
But in the Bible, in the New Testament, Jesus says you cannot serve both God and mammon.
Yeah.
So here's Mike Pence, who says that he's serving God, and what does he talk about? He talks about serving mammon. It's the bottom line is the bottom line.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to get in mix political stuff and religion here, but we should, it kind of blows my mind away to do that, to see that. Anyway, we should be talking about energy, shouldn't we?
I think we should.
Yep.
We'll talk about the first one here.
You if you want to, usually you say there's always a few of these that are worth reading.
Well, unfortunately, this time I haven't read them because my computer's down.
Tom's computer was down, and he didn't get it back up in time to see all of these. I actually prepared a copy of the script for him with some notes in it, so he can give you his takeaway.
Well, I got some notes that I will talk about, but usually I read all of these articles.
Yes, Tom is.
I haven't done it this time.
I read a lot of these articles, but I don't read them all the way through as carefully as Tom does.
Yeah.
So Tom is in a sense the expert here. But our first item comes from Clean Technica, and we have a picture here of some kids with their
Whoop.
banner. There we go. There it is. Okay. Now with nobody
the
looking.
Biden campaign reaffirms an end to fossil fuels subsidies. Well, that would be about time.
That would be about time.
I mean, they really need subsidies.
The fossil fuels companies, they need subsidies. Where do you suppose the Dow Jones Coal Index is right now?
What? Coal index?
Coal Index.
Is there anyone left?
There's still a coal index. You can go online and you can
very
find
low.
it. The Dow Jones Coal Index hit its all-time high with Barack Obama as president.
Okay.
And right now it has come down a bit. It fell from when he was president a little over 740 to 420.
Okay.
I don't mean 420, Tom. I mean 4.20.
4.2. Oh.
It's down over 99%.
Wow.
And a fair amount of that decline happened with Donald Trump in office.
Well, he was going to save coal jobs, wasn't he?
The coal industry went from 49,300 jobs in the mines when he took office. It went from 49,300 to 43,400. That is a 15% decline.
Well, as we've talked about, it's no longer economically viable.
It isn't. It's there it is. Now, fossil fuel subsidies, of course they need fossil fuel subsidies. They're going broke.
Yeah. I mean, who owns the fossil fuels? I mean, it's not a whole bunch of poor people.
It's people who donated to Donald Trump's campaign.
A lot of them are,
I don't think they're donating the way they were. The people who own the coal companies are not going to be donating a whole lot to Donald Trump's campaign.
They don't have a lot to donate.
They don't have a lot left. And Freedom Partners, which in 2015 said we're going to put $889 million into making sure that our people control the House, the Senate, and the White House,
yeah,
they dissolved.
Yes, yeah.
So, there it is.
Well, I'm listening to, or have been listening to, both the Democratic and the Republican conventions here.
Yeah.
And you hear what they're saying, and they're in two different worlds.
They are, and the Republican convention, I think, is in a world that's called denial.
Absolutely.
It's sad. I should read this. I haven't done it yet. This is from Clean Technica, and you've given us the title. Joe Biden was against subsidies for fossil fuels a month ago, but with the passing of time, the language in his platform opposing them suddenly disappeared. This is very suspicious. Now it's back after the Huffington Post noticed the change in the environmental groups fought to get the language restored. I wonder how much you can trust people.
Yeah. Joe Biden was against subsidies, but now he's for them.
Well, he was against subsidies, and then he stopped talking about being against subsidies, and then he started talking about being against subsidies again.
Oh,
Okay, we should go on.
let's move on.
We've already used up 10 minutes of the show. Okay, next one is from Renews, and there's no picture associated with it. But
Capital Dynamics, Tenaska Forge, 2 gigawatt battery partnership. I don't even know what that means.
I'll try to explain it. Asset manager Capital Dynamics has signed an agreement with U.S. power company Tenaska to develop approximately 2 gigawatts of battery storage projects in California.
Gigawatts is gigawatts.
That's right, and there's 2 of them. They will.
Big projects.
It's big projects. They will develop 9 battery projects to be located throughout the California's highest electrical load centers.
So they're going to be kind of staggered or distributed.
They're going to be distributed through the state,
Yeah.
geographically.
Yeah.
But this is they're developing this, I think, for arbitrage, which means they're going to be buying electricity and selling electricity. They want to buy it cheap and sell it dear.
So they'll store it while they're waiting for the price.
They
to go
will
up.
store it, and they will be producing a really big asset for the grid in the process. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be talking about the California grid in a few minutes anyway, because of the power failure that was there.
Yep.
And so anyway, that our next item. Should we go to the next item?
Yeah, we got another picture coming.
We do here. And this is the Kingston power plant, which is a big coal burning plant from the look
From
of
the
it.
Tennessee Valley Authority.
It's the Tennessee
It's a
Valley.
pretty good sized plant.
It is.
I mean, all those red things you see there are the cooling towers.
Yeah, I suppose that may be true.
Or at least right in front of them all.
Yeah, and I see on the left, in the background there,
Yep, big
there's
pile of coal.
a big pile of coal, and that's why I say this is. I think this is a coal burning plant. But anyway, this is from the Chattanooga Times Free Press.
The TVA's biggest customer, ICE, split with a federal utility.
What do you think of that? The Tennessee Valley Authority will have to compete with other wholesale power suppliers to keep its biggest customer beyond 2025. The TVA still uses nuclear reactors and older coal and gas plants, and Memphis Light Gas and Power and Water is looking for cheaper options.
So that's interesting.
Isn't it?
That's interesting.
And this is a big customer, and it's just saying we're gonna see what else is out there. And everything that you and I have talked about indicates that what else is out there is going to be cheaper. TVA is
It's not going to be coal.
and it's not going to be coal, and it's not going to be nuclear. And in 2025, I don't think it's going to be gas. It's going to be
It's going to be renewables.
It's going to be renewables. TVA has a lot. Actually, if you think about it, the TVA was originally built to put together to build dams.
This was back in Roosevelt's time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was during the
New Deal.
Depression. It was part of the what did they call that?
The New Deal, didn't it?
It was part of the New Deal. They had the civilian conservation car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
it all worked together. I mean, people needed jobs. It gave them jobs.
absolutely. Yeah, it
At
was.
the time, it made a lot of sense.
At the time, it made a lot of sense, and the dams they built, it makes sense to maintain. But
Well,
anyway,
the times they are changing. I mean, after all, these things are now, what, 50, 60, 70 years
they're
old?
more than 70 years
Yeah.
old. So, should we go on?
Yeah, we got something coming up on Friday, August 21st.
We do indeed, and we have a
Looks like
picture.
there's a picture there.
A picture of the port
Try to
of
get that
Cortland,
picture.
and I believe that is a rendering. It does not look like a photograph.
I think you're right. It is. It's not. It's a partial photograph. But
Yeah, it might be.
They have played with the photograph. That ship wasn't in the photograph.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
The,
been spliced in there.
This one is from Renews.
And that's a picture of the port of Cortland, and it's Cortland, New York.
Yeah. What do you got for a title, Tom?
Consortium unveils a New York offshore wind port upgrade.
Yeah. A New York consortium unveiled plans for an offshore wind hub in the state. The consultancy said the Port of Cortland site is one of 11 projects competing for up to $200 million in grants and loans funding to develop a port infrastructure to help deliver New York's 9 gigawatt offshore wind target by 2035.
So where is Cortland? Is it on Lake Erie or Lake Ontario? It's on
Oh,
Lake
that would-
Ontario, isn't it?
No, this isn't on the lakes.
Huh?
I don't think this is on the lakes.
Port
This-
of Cortland.
Is Cortland on the lakes?
I think so.
You're right. Okay, what do we got? The town of, it's in Westchester County.
Cortland?
Yep.
Oh, it is. It's the Hudson River.
Yep. And so they're talking, this
Yeah,
has got to be
Cortland's
the
in-
lower Hudson River.
Yeah,
But
Cortland is Hudson County.
the thing that's interesting about this is they're talking about developing a huge wind farm in, off New York. It's in New York waters.
Yeah.
In order to do that, they have to have a port with facilities that are designed to load the masts and the blades,
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
that onto ships. And it's got to be big enough that those ships can go out frequently. That I watched a wind farm off the coast of Wales come together a couple of years ago. They were putting up another one of these big wind turbines every day. And
Wow.
that is a lot of work,
I would say.
So they can't do that with just one ship because these ships have to go back and forth. They have to be loading all the time. So here we go. I think we should go on. Our next item that comes up here is local.
Coming back home.
It's coming back home.
Burlington YMCA's rooftop solar to provide 25% of energy needs.
Right. You could put that picture up if you want.
Yeah, that
this
would
is
be good.
this is from Vermont Biz.
From who?
Vermont.biz. It's a website.
Okay.
And it's it carries a lot of stuff about Vermont at it. It's a nice place.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Biz sounds like business, doesn't
And
it?
Vermont sounds like Vermont. Encore Renewable Energy and Greater Burlington YMCA announced the completion of a new rooftop solar array in downtown Burlington. The solar project is on a new YMCA facility that was built on a redeveloped property in downtown Burlington. And that, of course, is Burlington, Vermont. So,
I guess it is.
what?
I guess it is.
All right.
And we got another picture.
We
coming
do
up.
indeed. Let's take a look at it. This is a picture of a NIO ES6.
And what is NIO?
Well, it's a Chinese car company, and this picture was not taken in the United States. They aren't doing this in the United States yet. They're doing this in China, and it
Okay.
makes a great deal of sense.
Let's read what the title says. NIO launches battery as a service to make EV ownership even easier. I just read about that. It's
Yeah.
a good idea.
This is from Clean Technica. The battery is the most expensive component in an EV, so removing the battery from the initial purchase event makes electric vehicles much more affordable for its new owners. For NIO, leasing batteries is a new business line, and it makes NIO's EVs much more attractive. And
So you're not having to buy the battery.
Right.
What you're doing is basically subscribing to the battery's
That's right.
availability.
Yeah, and we saw this come up earlier. I guess it was last week or the week before. Proterra was doing that in the United States with its buses.
Exactly. Yep.
So this means that you can go into a dealership, if that's who's carrying the cars, and buy an electric car, and it's probably going to cost it should cost significantly less than the gas-powered.
At least it's going to be in the same ballpark. As
Yeah, but I would think that it would
Probably
be
a little bit
significantly
less.
less because electric motors are very simple compared to internal combustion.
Well, up until now, you've been forced to buy what's in effect 10 years worth of gas when you buy an electric car.
Yes. That's an interesting way to look at it. But this means that you can buy the car
Yeah.
and then you can rent, lease, whatever, the battery. And this particular picture,
You're basically subscribing to the
Right.
to the battery.
yep, this particular picture shows a swap
Let's get
location.
that picture up again.
And what they're
Why
doing,
can't I do that? Come on.
you're there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm working with two mice here.
It was, Tom has two mice, and one of the mice works on two different monitors. So he's at a real disadvantage here. This is a swap location where they can take a battery out and put another one in really easily. So if there's anything wrong with your battery, it can get replaced easily.
No sweat. Yeah.
No sweat. And I would imagine they can't be taking these batteries out just to charge them. But anyway, that's that. I think
there's going to be a lot of changes in the next few years. I mean, ultimately, everything's going to be electric.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to work their way through the problems.
Unless somebody comes up with some new part of physics that nobody's ever heard of. Okay, we're up to Saturday, August 22nd. We have a picture of lightning. That is lightning.
Looks like lightning to me.
That bolt, the ends of the bolt look kind of stubby. I can't quite figure that out.
See what?
They look stumpy, however you want to say it.
What, the lightning bolts?
The lightning bolt, I'm accustomed to lightning bolts that look very thread-like at the end. They're very thin, and here they look like
I think that picture's been played with.
I don't know what it's been, but it reminds me of a term from German. It is Stumpfnadel.
I'll take your word for it.
Which means dull nail.
Huh?
Dull nail. If you take a nagel, and you clip off the point, you've got a Stumpfnagel.
Well, I'm glad I know that now.
It was what would you call it? A metaphor. He's a dull nail.
Well, they're talking about, in this case, California wildfires.
They are indeed.
And it says 560 blazes have scorched more acres than there are in Rhode Island.
This is a lot of fires, and it's covering a lot of area. And this is from CNN. Almost every firefighting source in California is battling hundreds of blazes, including two of the largest wildfires in the state's history. This sounds like something that was going on last year.
It's happening again.
It's happening again.
That's what's all on the news lately.
Yeah.
About the California wildfires.
Yeah. Maybe we should tell that hurricane to go to California. Dump its rainfall there.
Doesn't work that way,
no,
unfortunately.
It doesn't. Governor Gavin Newsom said this. About 96% of the state's firefighting engines have been assigned to it. That means that this state is operating for normal firefighting. If somebody's house catches on fire,
you ain't going to have a fire engine.
On 4% of its available resources, because that's all that's really available at the current time. That's according to a spokesman. So that's kind of tough.
It's interesting. We're moving along to another California, and different things are happening.
It is, and this is, there was this blackout in California. There were 2 nights they didn't have any electricity, and people.
Well, yeah, we were just talking about that. They made
before the
kind of screw up
show started, and there were. Read the title.
Bad policy. Not renewables are to blame for California blackouts. And we'll find out what those bad policies are.
Yeah, this is from...
It was kind of stupid.
Clean Technica. Opponents of climate science, particularly the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal, were quick to condemn renewable energy for blackouts in California. So did Donald Trump, but they were both wrong, according to Stephen Berberick, the head of the California Power Grid operator. And what has happened here is, okay.
I got some notes.
Yeah, I know you do. They came from me.
I know.
And I'm just going to.
You could talk about it.
Actually, you could read the notes if you want,
Well, from what they're talking about here, the wind power is low during heat waves.
It's always low during heat waves.
And this was predictable. They knew it was going to happen.
They knew it was going to happen in advance.
Okay, a 700 megawatt thermal coal or natural gas plant that shut down for maintenance just before the heat wave.
And I don't know.
It just shut down.
I don't know whether they knew the heat wave was coming or it actually shut down, started and shut down before that. This was
It shut down just before that, but did they know this was coming?
I don't know.
And we don't know that.
I also don't know. If they knew it was
coming and they shut it down, it was kind of stupid.
Well, unless it had to shut down. there is such a thing as a maintenance problem developing where you just have to shut down. You can't keep going.
From what I read, I think
I
this
don't
was
think that
routine
was the
maintenance.
case.
It was scheduled to shut down.
It was scheduled to shut down, and I think they could have kept that plant going. I
And the
might
next
be
one
wrong.
is important too. Backup plants that could have been brought online were not called up to be ready.
What have these people got on their minds? I don't understand this. I mean, those backup plants are supposed to be there in case there's an emergency. And what happened here, you know, those, if you have even if you have a plant that responds really fast, like a peaking plant, a
Yeah.
natural gas peaking plant, if it's off,
It's still going to take a while.
it's still going to, somebody's got to get there. I mean,
Yeah.
you call somebody up on the phone and say, Ralph, you need it at the plant. It's going to take him half an hour to get there. This is not going to be online in 5 minutes.
No.
And, you know,
It'll be on quickly, but not no 5
right.
minutes.
And
no way.
from what I gather in this heat wave, these plants were not called up until after the power outage started,
Okay.
which is not, I mean, this means that things, and also
Sounds like somebody was asleep at the wheel.
somebody was asleep at the wheel, and Governor Newsom was absolutely livid from what I
Well,
can.
just to make matters worse, an online 470 megawatt thermal plant tripped.
Which they do in heat waves.
Well, it was overloaded. It was seeing and overloaded. It popped. It blew a
absolutely.
fuse.
It blew a fuse, or it kind of metaphorically. But these thermal plants do that in heat waves. This is one of the, when you have a heat wave and you've got this huge amount of
There's
electricity,
going to be more demand, and sometimes it's extra demand.
and
Isn't there?
and it isn't there. And what happens also is, if you think about these thermal plants, and it's true of all thermal plants, 2/3 of the energy of burning whatever is burning is not going into electricity. It's going into heat that has to be dissipated someplace.
That's why they have cooling towers.
That's why they have cooling towers. And when it's 102 degrees out, those cooling towers
They
are
don't
not
work too
very
well.
efficient. So these poor
We
people.
got a bunch of things, a bunch of events just ganging up on them here.
Exactly. And the Wall Street Journal and these people who are anti-renewable are saying, well, it's because of wind power. It didn't happen because of wind power.
Well, that's what they're saying, but they'd have said that anyhow.
They would have said it anyhow. If there wasn't a single wind turbine in sight, they would have said it's because of wind turbines, because that's what they say. Okay.
Well, we got a picture coming up here.
Do
a
we?
picture of Greenland.
No, yeah, I guess you might be right. Here's a picture of Greenland. And I don't
Looks like
know. but-
Greenland to me.
Yeah, that I think all of that greenery in the front there was not greenery 50 years ago.
I don't think so. I think it was under ice.
I think it was.
Because we talked last week about the Greenland Ice Sheet is on its way out and it's not coming back.
Yeah, and I did a lot of research on this, and it has me scared.
Well, it's on land ice, and unlike on sea ice, when it melts, it raises sea level.
Yeah, except in Greenland, where it lowers the sea level. Why? Because Greenland had so much ice on it that this melting ice makes the whole
Greenland
crust of the
goes
earth
up.
go up. Okay, this is from
Who'd have
CNN.
thunk?
Yeah, right. This is from CNN. You got a title? I can read it if you want.
Greenland Ice Sheet melted faster than ever before in 2019.
Right. Research published in the journal Communications, Earth and Environment found that in 2019, Greenland's ice sheet lost an annual record 532 billion tons of ice. By comparison, between 2003 and 2016, the ice sheet lost an average of 255 billion. So this is actually more than double what it was during that previous period.
And it
Now,
ain't coming back.
it is not coming back. Tom, I did a fair amount of research on this.
Yeah.
I wrote an article for the upcoming edition of Green Energy Times, which will be out in a week or two. And what I found was this, and this is absolutely frightening to me. In the 1990s, Greenland was losing ice at a rate of approximately 25 billion tons per year. 25. Here, in the period of 2003 to 2016, it was 255 billion.
10 times, factor of 10.
It's a factor of 10. And in 2019, it was 532 billion. And I got numbers from other places, and they're fairly consistent. What's happening is the ice loss is the speed of ice loss is increasing to double every 6th year. And doubling every 6 years is scary.
Well,
And-
you know, if you look at maps, in many, many cases, the area of Greenland is white.
Yeah.
It ain't
It's
going to
just
be anymore.
white. Yeah, that's right. And the thing that scares me about this is 532 billion tons in 2019 means 1 trillion tons in 2025. Now we've got,
So they're going to run out of ice to melt.
well, that's going to take a while. This ice is like 2 to 3 miles thick. But the thing is, the thing that's scary about this is that the projections that they had in the 2000 teens, when that ice was melting half as fast as it is now, is that we would have a 3-foot sea level rise by the year 2100, which is 80 years off. But it's not. I think those projections might be way, way off. And if that's
So
the
it's going to be
case,
sooner than that.
that 3-foot level might be achieved by 2050.
Well, I got to sell my land in Florida.
Wow, should you?
There ain't
And-
going to be any Florida.
A 3-foot rise, according to the stuff I was reading, means that 40% of the people in the United States will have to relocate.
You're going to have to build a big dam across New York Harbor.
I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they're talking about Miami.
There ain't going to be any money.
People on those condos on the beach, those multi-story condos, are moving into Little Haiti.
Yeah.
Because Little Haiti has an altitude of 7 feet above sea level. I'm sorry, if
7 feet's a lot down in Florida.
yeah, it is. But if we have a 3-foot rise in the ocean, those waterfront condos are going to become
They're gonna be
unlivable. And more to the point, the highways running in and out are they going to become unlivable
I
too?
think so.
I think so. I don't think it's going to be possible to get to Little Haiti except by boat. I mean, really, people are
Well, people are moving away from southern Florida right now. They're moving to central U.S.
they're moving to Vermont.
Yeah, some of them are. For
The
sure.
realtors in Vermont are saying that the land prices are going up rapidly because of COVID-19. And these people who are buying in Vermont are cognizant of the fact that Vermont is, Brattleboro is about as low as you can get in Vermont. You can get a little bit lower by going into Vernon. But still, you're 290 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
And I don't see this particular set of figures, this business idea of the speed of this ice loss doubling every 6 years, and as it doubles, what does it do? It exposes land, which gets warmer in the sun, and stops reflecting sunshine into space, so it warms up faster.
Yep.
That's why it increases. We have come to a point where Greenland cannot recover, not as it
Well, we
was.
talked about that already.
We have. Okay, we should get off of this. Tom and I laugh a lot. We really do, and we enjoy laughing. And this is one of those things. But
Well, we've got another picture of Greenland. Let me put it up.
there it is. And we are up to Sunday, August 23rd, and we have something going on here. What is it?
It says the observer view on the climate catastrophe facing Earth.
Okay,
I don't know what they mean by the observer.
Okay, I'm going to have to relocate my thing here because I have lost. Okay, here we go. This is from The Guardian,
Yeah.
and that's a NASA photograph of ice, that's popping off of Greenland. 30 years ago this week, the first assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change warned us that we faced a threat of unprecedented magnitude. Greenhouse gas emissions would be triggers of dangerous climate change. We have recklessly ignored that warning.
It seems that we have.
We've been paid to recklessly ignore it, Tom. We have people running for office right now who have been paid. They have not been paid directly, but they have been let off the hook for having to come up with campaign money. They have been paid in that sense to go to Congress and deny that climate change is happening. And we've had people in the media.
I heard it last night on the radio.
Yeah.
A continual group of people saying basically there's no that's a hoax. They wouldn't use that word, but that's what they were saying.
Well, I wonder how much they're paid.
Well, they don't get paid.
They don't.
Money goes into their reelection campaign.
Yeah, there are people who are paid though. There are people who write articles that say it's not happening and have them appear in peer-reviewed journals.
We know the names of some of these people.
Yes, we do.
Some of the same people that wrote about cigarettes 30 years ago.
Yes, that's true.
No, they don't cause any problems. No,
that's absolutely
they're good
true.
For you.
That's absolutely
Remember pictures of advertising cigarettes of doctors?
Old gold cigarettes, not a cough in a carload.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. And you know what? My Uncle John painted a painting, I think it was, that was hired by Old Gold cigarettes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And he had a bunch of models show up at a set of bleachers at a high school football field to sit there in warm clothes on a hot summer day so that they could be photographed so he could do a painting that would be ready for Uncle John was one of the Saturday Evening Post cover artists.
Oh, was he? Yeah,
yeah, he did as many as Norman Rockwell.
Did he really?
He did indeed.
Yeah.
And in fact, Norman Rockwell himself actually said that he at one time based the style of his paintings on my uncle's.
Is that so?
My uncle was John Falter.
John who?
John Falter.
Falter.
Yep.
Okay.
Not a name that everybody is aware of.
No, I don't know the guy.
Yeah, I saw a picture which was a pseudo advertisement on the back cover of Mad Magazine once that showed a guy who I don't remember. I remember that it had to do with a broken teacup, and it was signed John Faltered. I told my uncle he was thrilled. It's the idea that somebody in Mad Magazine would know his name. Okay.
Well, cigarettes are the only consumer product that you can buy that if used as directed will kill you. Can kill you.
Oh, I remember my mother going to a lecture on the subject, and she said she was sitting there and the man who was giving the lecture said, anybody who's smoking, they will die of lung cancer unless they die of something else first.
Wow.
And she and her
That's kind
friend
of scary.
both heard that and said, anybody's going to die of lung cancer unless they die of something else first. So they both broke out laughing. Well, we should go on, actually. Should we go on? Yes, I think we should. We've got an item from the Anchorage Daily News.
How can humankind find a sustainable future in the midst of climate change? This scientist has some ideas.
In a new book, F. Stuart Chapin, the emeritus professor of ecology from the University of Alaska Fairbanks, has an optimistic argument for a grassroots movement leading away from Earth's destruction to sustainability.
Well, that's a good idea.
You've got some notes there, Tom.
Yeah, I do. The book is called Grassroots Sustainability.
Yeah.
Clever title. Quote from the article. Chapin's four-tiered stewardship strategy, and that's in quotes, is about solutions. The four tiers are individual actions, effective communications built on trust, collaborating on shared goals, and political action.
Yeah. And he's saying that if people just do these things, we can stop climate change, basically. Or we can deal with it.
Well, if we don't do these things,
we're in trouble.
We're in trouble.
Yeah.
So you can look at it either one of two ways.
Well, I think this is an interesting approach, and the fact that this is a knowledgeable man, and he's optimistic because he sees that there's an ability to deal with this. So what we have to do is act.
Yep.
Okay, Tom and I
got a
act,
picture
by the
coming
way.
up
That's the reason why we do all these shows.
We got a picture coming up.
We do. We have a cow in a drought.
There
You
we
want to
go.
put that up?
There
you
you
go.
go. He looks kind of lonely out there.
Well, that particular cow, it looks kind of lonely. Okay.
Driest I've seen. Without summer rains, Arizona cattle ranchers confront tough choices.
Yep.
And they're in a drought.
They're in a drought. This is azcentral.com. At this time of year, dark clouds are usually rolling in over Arizona's pastures, arriving with lightning and thunder.
So it's kind of the rainy season.
Well, it's
Usually.
a monsoon season. They have a monsoon in Arizona. The storms douse the land and nourish the grasses, but this year the monsoon hasn't come, and the rangelands have been left parched. It might still come, but if it does, it's going to be truncated. It's not going to be normal.
Driest I've seen without summer rains.
Yeah.
Scary.
Okay, that was from azcentral.com. Our next one is from Clean
Now,
Technica.
this is an interesting picture.
And this is an interesting picture. Oh, you said that.
Huh?
Huh?
That is the EAG Hera.
That's right.
And we'll find out what EAG is in a second.
Well, why don't you read the title?
EAG reveals hybrid electric airplane concept.
Well, Hera
That's
is
a hybrid. That's a pretty big hybrid plane.
Yes, it is. You have some details on that. Let me read this. EAG is a company. I've forgotten where it is.
It's called Hybrid Electric Regional Aircraft.
Well, that's the craft, but the company is EAG, and I don't remember what EAG stands for. Or the way the way these things work today, it could be HTZ. And what is HTZ? It's Harry, Tom, and Zelda.
In this case, we don't know what.
We don't know what they are. EAG plans to have the Hera hybrid electric regional aircraft in service by 2028. The Hera
Look at it again. Look at that plane. Huh?
The Hera will offer carriers short takeoff and landing performance, a flexible cabin design for quick change between passenger and cargo configurations, and an operating range of 800 nautical miles. And you have a note on what that means.
Well, I got several notes. I'll read them all.
Okay.
The aircraft's going to seat 75 people.
This is not a tiny aircraft, which is what we've seen in the past.
Now, 800 nautical miles is 920 statute miles.
Right.
Okay, the flight distance from Boston to Chicago is 850 miles.
Right.
So we're talking a good distance.
We're talking a good distance. I don't know if they could safely fly from Boston to Chicago, but I would say that they certainly could safely fly from New York to Chicago, I would think.
I would think.
Yeah.
Well, we will talk about this more when we cover a story about batteries later.
Yes.
And that's coming up.
That story is coming up. That plane, by the way, has two engines, it looks like, or two motors on each wing. That is, when I first saw this...
It's got a motor. Let me get that picture.
When I first saw the picture, I thought it had a motor with a pusher propeller and a puller propeller, but it isn't. It's two motors, and the left-hand one on the screen there looks smaller because it actually is smaller.
Well, I think what we're seeing here is a rather large motor with two props on it that's used for propulsion.
It's got
and a bunch of small motors in the back.
No.
That's used for
I don't know.
takeoff.
I couldn't see that there were motors on there.
One,
but
2, 3, 4. We can see.
I see four things there, but the two propellers you can see are on two different nacelles.
Yes, they are.
And each of those, they're not the same size.
But they're both for propulsion.
And they're both ahead of the motor or engine. So my guess is this thing has two big electric motors and two gas-powered engines. I'm not sure. I really don't know. It's a hybrid.
They call it a hybrid, so it's probably got, as you suggest, a gas motor and an electric motor.
Although if the stuff we're seeing about batteries pans out, I think they're going to change their design. Let's go on.
Okay, we got another picture coming.
We do indeed. And this is from the Hindustan Times.
Whoop, I had the picture.
You have the picture. There it is.
Is that Mount Everest or not?
No, that's Nanda Devi.
Oh, that's the second largest building.
And that is what I think are called lenticular clouds above it.
It's exactly what they're called. Yep.
Okay, I'm glad you could be certain about that.
Well, receding glaciers in the Nanda Devi region are affecting lifestyle and agriculture. That is very significant.
Oh, it sure is. The changes in the glaciers in Nanda Devi region of the Himalayas in Uttarakhand in the last 3 decades have majorly affected the lifestyle, culture, and agricultural practices of people living in nearby villages, a study carried out by experts from major institutes says.
Well, I don't know if it's going to say this or not, but that mountain serves as the water supply for all sorts of places in Southeastern Asia.
Absolutely. And that water supply is going to be disrupted. We saw that happen in South America, where we had that beautiful picture of a ski resort, and there was no snow.
Yeah.
And the ski resort had been built where it was because there was a glacier there, and the glacier is gone. And the glacier was feeding a lake, and the lake is gone.
Right.
And the villages that supported themselves by fishing in the lake are gone.
They're gone.
You know, and this is stuff that's already. It was.
So you got a wonderful resort in the middle of nowhere.
It's a Chinese hoax, according to the Republicans in their convention. But it's actually happening. So what do you do? What do you do, people in Cameron Parish? Climate change is a hoax. And the reason why that was a Category 4 storm that you had to flee from instead of a Category 2?
That's a hoax, too.
That's a hoax, too. Absolutely. You were going to get blown away one way or the other.
From the article, about 26 square kilometers of the glaciated area of the Nandi Devi region was lost in 37 years. Now we're talking about 18,000 square miles.
20? No, not that much.
16,000.
How many? What?
60.
No,
60 is 100.
how many square kilometers was it?
26.
Okay, so a square kilometer is going to be about half a square mile.
60%.
Okay, very good, 60%. So,
So we're talking 60% of 26.
that's the number of square miles. So
Yeah.
it's going to be like
It's going to be about 15.
15 square miles. But it's 15 square miles of glacier. This is a lot of water, and it's gone.
Yeah, it is. Gone. It isn't there anymore.
It's not there anymore, you know, gang. These people are having to change their lifestyles.
Well, what the article says is farming, diet, and even home construction have changed radically in just a few years.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's very significant because that
is
is a source of water for a lot of people.
In some respects, their lives have improved because they've got local green vegetables now, and they didn't before.
Well, that's a plus.
It's a
But
plus.
it doesn't make up for what they lost.
No, it does not. They're very likely to have to move out. Okay, now we're up
Nice
to an
picture
item
here
from
of a
Science
Greenland
Alert.
Glacier.
Oh,
There was a
yes.
surface ice melt in the Greenland.
This is so
Glacier.
weird. That picture doesn't look normal to me.
It's not.
We have to speed up, Tom. We've got a lot left.
Greenland Glacier surface ice melt is what it says, and the title is Earth Lost, a staggering 28 trillion tons of ice in just 23 years.
This is from Science Alert. Scientists from Leeds and Edinburgh universities and the University College London analyzed satellite surveys of glaciers, mountains, and ice sheets between 1994 and 2017 to identify the impact of global warming. They called the loss of ice they found staggering.
It looks like it's a plateau. And it's
I have no idea what that is. That is such a weird picture. Why don't you put it back up again so people can see why we're complaining about it? I just don't get it. I don't know
Well,
what it means.
it's a lake forming in the glacier
Right.
with a sort of an ice island in the middle.
I think you're right. Yeah. We have to go on, Tom. We've got 8 minutes to do 6 items.
Tuesday, August 25th, and we got the abstraction of a pump turbine.
Oh yes, let's put that up. How about that for a picture?
That's up there.
Yeah, I had to
Better
put this
explain
in.
what that thing is.
There is no explanation for what that thing is.
It's just a picture.
It's just a picture. I was going to call it an abstraction of an abstract idea. This is from Clean Technica.
New energy storage water battery breakthrough. Gotta find out what this is.
Yeah, one of the projects to emerge from the US DOE's focus on energy storage is a new pumped hydro turbine design from Obermeyer Hydro Incorporated. Obermeyer's contribution to the cause involves a new reversible pump turbine design that is slim and compact enough to fit into a well.
That's interesting.
Now, the idea here is if you look at the Northfield station, the one down the river there, they have huge turbines that they put in many stories underground.
Yep, they're right there on the ground. Right.
That's right. Well, here, what they've got is a turbine that they can just put down a well, so they don't have to excavate this huge amount of land so that they can build a building underground.
So instead of a 20-foot hole, they got a 20-inch hole.
I think,
or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it wasn't a 20-foot hole. It was like probably
It's
like
much bigger than that.
200 or 300-foot hole, because those turbines are
Those
huge.
turbines are big.
Okay, we should go on.
Well, it used to be that the entire pumping facility had to be underground.
Yes.
As you just said.
Yeah.
Putting a pump down a well
Right.
saves a lot of money.
Right. Now we've got an item from Earth Justice.
And got a picture coming up there.
We do.
And it's rooftop solar panels. I
And
never guessed that.
It is up. So what do you got for a title?
Montana's High Court rules a utility cannot discriminate against solar energy. There's more to this one than meets the eye.
The Montana Supreme Court rejected Northwestern Energy's attempts to shut out competition from local or customer-owned solar projects that would help meet the state's electricity needs. The court found the utility discriminated against such projects illegally, and this was both local and federal laws were violated. So I don't think this is going to get appealed to the Supreme Court of the United States, because this would be a difficult appeal.
Well, it looks like, what does it look like? They were saying that you couldn't get energy from the grid if you were growing your own, or they wouldn't.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. Okay, our next item is from the Voice of America.
So I don't have a picture here.
Well, you don't?
Solar panels in the Outstay Hope Vermont.
That's correct.
No, I don't have a picture.
Well, the picture's on the screen. You can click on it, and everybody will see it. You've already got it, Tom.
That's the picture?
That's the picture. All you
Oh.
got to do is click on that picture, and you'll see what it looks like.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I just don't have it on my computer.
Well, I don't know what it is about these computer programs, but they don't cooperate sometimes.
So
Okay.
that is a whole bunch of solar panels.
I guess it is, with some
And I
mountains in
guess
the
they're
background.
following the curvature of the land.
It is. This is from the Voice of America. Got a title?
Well, I'm trying to find it.
I could read the title if you want.
Well, I've just lost it, but I'm coming back on it.
Okay.
It just got out of the way here on this.
Okay, I'll tell everybody to be patient while you're taking your time.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
Okay. This article, by the way, doesn't have anything at all to do with solar panels. So,
Well, here. Okay, here it is. Montana's High Court. Well, I just read that, didn't I?
yes, you did. Researchers, the title.
Huh?
Title, Researchers Improve. Let me read it,
Oh,
Tom.
that's the next one. Okay, researchers improve anti-solar energy production.
The anti-solar they're just having fun here with this title. So-called anti-solar panels capture energy by radiating the Earth's heat at night.
So
Authors-
sort of solar thermal, but without the solar.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Interesting concept.
solar thermal in reverse. Authors of a study published in the journal Optics Express say they have developed a method that, in simulations, has improved energy generation by anti-solar panels. These things have been around for a while, by as much as 120%.
So there's heat coming from the ground, and they figured out a way to capture it.
They are radiating that into space, and by moving that heat, they're able to capture some energy.
Interesting.
Isn't it? Now, the 120% is an improvement from the old panels that they had, which compared to solar panels are really not very efficient. So that doesn't mean that you're going to see lots of these things coming up anytime soon.
But it's sort of found energy, isn't it?
It is, sort of. Okay, we're up to Wednesday,
This
August
is the last one of the week.
26th, and we have an item from Clean Technica.
Tesla Air? Elon Musk hints Tesla could mass produce 400 watt-hour per kilogram batteries in 3 to 4 years.
Now,
Well, we know he's working on batteries.
yeah, and this is where that plane that we were looking at all of a sudden becomes possible, maybe not as a hybrid, where you could just say, well, we don't need the hybrid part. We can make this into a straight battery aircraft, and it's a 75-person aircraft that can fly 800 miles.
Well, there's a lot of smart people working on a lot of smart stuff.
Yep.
And some of them are going to come around and they're going to surprise us.
Yeah. Elon Musk suggested on Twitter, I hate Twitter, that Tesla may be able to mass produce batteries with 50% more energy density in 3 to 4 years, which would enable electric airplanes. Musk has been interested in pushing electric aircraft for years.
Well, didn't Musk just open up a very large battery or 2 battery producing plants? One of them is in Buffalo and the other
Yeah,
one down
well,
in
that
Arizona?
was the Buffalo plant has been building up, and
Yep.
I believe they started, and then they have where do you see the other
There's one
ones?
down in the southwest somewhere.
Texas.
Could be Texas.
I think
Yeah.
it was in
Texas, Arizona, somewhere down there.
Okay, our next item is the picture here is an old rendering of the Duane Arnold Energy Center, and that rendering is probably 50 years old or more.
I wonder who Duane Arnold was.
I don't know.
Storm damage prompts NextEra Energy to shut the Duane Arnold nuclear plant early.
This is from S&P Global. NextEra Energy Resources said it will not restart the reactor at Duane Arnold Energy Center before its permanent closing date. The 622 megawatt Iowa nuclear plant was scheduled to close permanently on October 30th, 2020, but on August 10th it was damaged by a storm. And they're just saying,
So they're just, what are we talking, 2 months? They're just going to keep it closed.
the amount of time and effort that it would take to get this thing
Is it
back
worth it?
online, it's not worth even trying. So, this is one of the things about nuclear plants that makes them problematical. Okay, we need to go on. Our
Well,
last
it's the economics student.
Yes, it is. Our
Got a
last picture is a
here.
picture from 1963 of the New York Stock Exchange floor.
In 1963. What
Yeah.
was happening in 1963?
Nothing in particular, but it
It's
was
just typical of the
just typical. This is from Clean Technica. What do you have for a title, Tom?
Dow Jones throws Exxon Mobil overboard in massive index shakeup. I
Exxon
want to
Mo-
explain what this really means.
Yeah, Exxon Mobil was kicked out of the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index and replaced by a technology company that sells softwares that allows large company to track sales and other information. That company is Salesforce.com. Exxon Mobil has been part of the Dow Index for 92 years. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index,
That's what we're talking about.
is what we're talking about. And when people say what's happening to the Dow, that's what they're talking about. And one of the components of this was Exxon Mobil for 92 years. It started out, it wasn't Exxon Mobil to begin with, it was Standard Oil of New Jersey, but it became Exxon. And
Same company.
and then merged with Mobil, and it's Exxon Mobil. And Exxon Mobil stock is way down. All oil stocks are way down. The stock index, because of this, has been lower than it could have been, and so they're just throwing Exxon Mobil overboard. It's still traded on the New York Stock Exchange. This doesn't have any effect on the company's value, but it shows you
Oil and gas isn't the attractive investment it was a few years
the
ago.
index I talked about the index for coal.
Yeah.
Coal index.
It's
Well,
gone.
the oil and gas index is down something like 65%.
Yeah.
And, this is what's happening. As you always say, the times they are changing.
Well, as far as energy is concerned, there's some big changes coming up. They're
That's right.
happening as we speak.
That's right. Now, we have one more slide, which says, have a clearly superior week. And then Tom and I will wave goodbye.
Well,
You got to put us up if we're going to wave goodbye. There you go.
There we go.
Come back next time.
Goodbye, everybody.